Saturday, WWE has got Night of Champions going on. It is the only event, of that magnitude going on Saturday. And good news to all of you fans who are all about, worried about match length and worried about how many matches are on a card. There are count them, six matches for the Night of Champions card this upcoming week. And no, not all the championships are on the line, as in former Night of Champions pay-per-views used to be like. What do you make of that idea, right? We call this Night of Champions. That used to be kind of the moniker in the earlier, the mid-2000 time, 2010, where it was like 7 matches, 7 championships on the line. This particular event has 3 championships on the line. Are you a fan of it still being called Night of Champions? What, obviously it was for 1 year called King of the Ring. They got away from that. What do you think, if you were in charge, this event should be billed as?
If it's Night of Champions, every match should have a title on the line. That's the way I look at it. It's in the name. If you're going to sell me on a name, then I expect, okay, every match on the card is going to be a championship match. And the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring stuff, I feel like you could just make that a separate pay-per-view and just go back to doing pay-per-views like that. Because we had the infamous 30 years ago, Stone Cold cut that promo, King of the Ring style, and because we obviously there's a lot of stories behind that, but the point is he won, he cut the promo, and then we were on to Austin 316 and all that. I want to see that. I love the King and the Queen of the Ring. Like, the tournament's been fun. There's been some great matches. I would rather we've talked about it, have like the semifinals on a pay-per-view, and then later, by the end of the night, we know who the King and the Queen of the Ring are, but the PLE is called the King and Queen of the Ring. Like, that's how it should be. With this Night of Champions, granted, yes, every match pretty much has a title on the line. You got the King of the Ring, you got the Queen of the Ring. I'll count those as pseudo titles, I guess. Like, because you're still getting a crown. Like, that thing's cool. I get that. The only non-title match is probably going to be the best match of the night in my eyes, which is Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. But it's not. It's a Night of Champions. It's not singles match, cage match. It's not a championship match. But I think it will probably be the best match on the card, at least in my eyes. I think we're going to see some fireworks for that match.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know why in 2024 they marketed this event as King and Queen of the Ring. It took place at the end of May. King of the Ring, traditionally, and I say traditionally because, it's crazy to say because we're very old school around here, that's something that happened for a couple of years in the 90s. For some reason, it's the tentpole. It's like one time in the 90s I tried Code Red, so now 45 years later, that's what I do on Sundays is I drink Code Red because I did it once. And it's crazy because that just means we're getting old, that what happened between 1993 and 2002 is the tradition, even though obviously probably Night of Champions has got more pay-per-views under its name.
A whole generation doesn't really know it.
Yeah. But in 2024, they called this event King and Queen of the Ring. And then in 2025, called it that too, until they changed it to Night of Champions kind of last minute. It was originally scheduled as King and Queen of the Ring, and then they changed it to Night of Champions. And I don't know why, because again, June for me, nostalgia-wise, was always King of the Ring, right? Later on in the King of the Ring time, they had whoever won King of the Ring went on to SummerSlam, which is something they brought back, which is what makes this event matter, right? So I don't understand why this event just can't be called King and Queen of the Ring or King of the Ring. It could be called King of the Ring even if Queen of the Ring is on it. Like, I don't think that really denigrates it because I don't think the Baileys of the world or, the people who are involved in this, the Io Sky and Liv Morgan will be like, oh, it should be called King and Queen of the Ring. Either way, it should have that. That should be the focal point here of this event, King of the Ring. That should be what it's called. It matters again, right? A couple years ago is when they decided that this was going to matter again. I'm glad they did because obviously in the early 2000s, after they got rid of the pay-per-view and just made this a SmackDown event, it didn't matter, so it doesn't matter. The Royal Rumble would stop mattering tomorrow and forever if the winner got nothing. And I think that's what matters the most about any of these tournaments is if the winner gets something, it matters. And the reason I say that is because not just obviously it doesn't matter if the winner doesn't get something, but when it doesn't, like the winner doesn't get something, then anybody can be the winner, especially in the WWE world. We have these legitimate winners like Brock Lesnar in 2002, or Gunther's, and stuff like that in the past, because you're going on to face for a championship. If it doesn't mean anything, that's when we have King Sheamus. That's when we have King Fit Finlay. That's when we have King Booker. And I'll even say that those were actually some big names. I would say we've had some low level King of the Ring people. It's kind of reminds me of like the greatest Royal Rumble. Braun Strowman won the greatest Royal Rumble because he wasn't having to go on the main event WrestleMania afterwards. I mean, literally anyone could have won it because it doesn't matter. But having these matter again, you can have them as separate pay-per-views because you're going to have big names in it, right? Jey Uso and Obafemi are here because it matters, and we care because it matters. If this didn't matter and it was just for the King of the Ring and the winner got nothing, this could potentially be Fraxium, one member of Fraxium going up against Solo Sikoa. I mean, if the winner wasn't going on SummerSlam.
The thing, you made a good point about June being King and King and Queen of the Ring,
mm-hmm.
which the winner goes to SummerSlam, which historically speaking is in August.
Mm-hmm.
So even depending on what part of the month you do it in June for King and Queen of the Ring, you could have upwards of, we'll say, 8 weeks, maybe a minimum of 5 to 6 weeks to build that championship match, build some story between the crowning of the king, the crowning of the queen, and then who they're facing, which is the champion at SummerSlam. Like there's so much story you could build into it to get people really invested in that match and making SummerSlam even bigger than, sometimes I feel like it has been. And they're not doing that. They're just doing it doesn't make sense to me. The night of champions. Make it all the titles on the line then. If you're going to do Night of Champions, or at least every match has a title. I want King and Queen of the Ring to be its own separate thing.
Yeah, no, and I think it's fine. I would still rather have more matches of the tournament because, again, similar to the Royal Rumble, why the Royal Rumble, again, I just said it matters because the winner gets something. Could you imagine the Royal Rumble if it was 30 people in a battle royal, but they all faced each other one-on-one until we got down to 2, and then at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, it was just the 2, and whoever got thrown over the top rope wins? That would defeat everything, right? The whole part of the Royal Rumble is having it all happen in one night, and what made the King of the Ring essentially anything, whether it matters or it doesn't matter, was the endurance aspect of it. It's a one-night tournament. It's the person who can make it through. I mean, Jey Uso versus Obafemi is going to be a great match. Io Sky versus Liv Morgan. There's no endurance. It's a match. It's not 8 people who's going to survive. Like, it's not like that. Like, Survivor Series, it's 5-on-5, and we get down to the last sole survivor. It's not 5-on-5, and then this week we get down to 4, and next week we get down to 3, and then at the pay-per-view it's just a one-on-one match. No. So, like, what makes these important, and WWE made them important, right? They made King of the Ring the way it is. Joe Tessitore recently said on SportsCenter that this is like WrestleMania season. It's a different season. It's this event leading into SummerSlam and kind of focused heavily on the fact that it's King and Queen of the Ring, which is going to lead to your SummerSlam main events. So it is a season in its own. SummerSlam is being treated very highly like WrestleMania. It has always kind of been. So I think for the most part, the event is okay. I would rather see the more of the focus on King and Queen of the Ring. Let's not call this Night of Champions. I don't know why we can't call it King and Queen of the Ring. I don't think that has anything to do with ticket sales. I don't think, especially over in Saudi Arabia, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I'm perfectly fine with it being called an event, and I think that is actually the focal point of this event. And we'll talk about that now. Jey Uso, Obafemi, they've made it to the finals, right? Obafemi, he's still in that feud, if you will, with Brock Lesnar. We expect we're going to get that down the line. So we'll start there. Is Obafemi winning this thing and going on to SummerSlam for the championship, or is there going to be some sort of swerve off here? Does Brock Lesnar show up? What happens?
I mean, that certainly is in the back of a lot of our minds as wrestling fans. I think that could definitely happen. I believe Obafemi's still going to win. I don't think the audience wants an overexposure of the bloodline having all the titles. It's just a gut feeling. I don't want to see it. People, other wrestling fans I've talked to, they like Jey Uso, but like, we don't need the entire bloodline having championships. Like it's gotten to a point where and almost in a way, it's kind of it would get annoying if Jey Uso's got one title on one show, Roman's got it on the other show. I don't think that's the direction we should be going. I feel like we should be building other superstars, in which we are. Like Obafemi is, I mean, obviously, honestly, he's probably getting the best pops of any wrestler going right now. Like even before he comes out, the lights come down. Everybody knows it's Oba, and they're already like his music hasn't played, and they're already chanting for him. Like the dude is he's over like Grover, as they like to say, and I feel like having Oba lose just doesn't make sense to me. I think they gotta give this guy, extra juice. Like Jey Uso doesn't need it, even though even though it's orders of Roman Reigns. I get that from the storyline perspective, but Oba should be doing this because I would like to see Roman on one show and Oba on the other show. And I think we're in good hands.
Yeah, I feel like, we've already actually seen Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns, in case that was the route they were going to try to go, at SummerSlam. So we've seen that exact match for the championship already. I don't necessarily think, because again, Jey Uso winning this doesn't mean he's going to be the champion at SummerSlam. It just means he faces off against one of the champions. I don't necessarily.
I feel like it sets it up though. Like why would you have Jey Uso win the King of the Ring and not put the title on him? It just doesn't make sense. I feel like if he wins, whoever wins this match is going to be the next champion of their whatever title they want. Like I just this particular one just screams SummerSlam title change. Whoever wins this match, I feel like and to me, Obafemi obviously is the honest choice. Like we've seen Jey Uso do it. Like I feel like we've ran that course. I think Oba's more over than Jey Uso at this stage. I think Oba should be the next champion of whatever he chooses, which it seems like he wants to go after Roman, which would be interesting.
I think a lot of people that are talking about saving Oba and Roman for WrestleMania. I feel like Jey Uso might get this because I feel like we've got to swerve Oba towards Brock for SummerSlam. Obviously, we're talking about
Tiffany. Not a bad idea.
Tiffany and Chad Gable. We all know they're from Minneapolis, but at the end of the day, the biggest name that no one's really kind of chatting about that's from that area, went to college in that area, is Brock Lesnar. His career is coming to an end. A lot of people were thinking maybe it was WrestleMania and it was going to happen before SummerSlam because of what he did, but then he swerved us all and stuck around. But I think realistically it could be coming to a close here this summer. I will just say the problem with Jey Uso winning for me is it's just, other than going up against Cody Rhodes, which is still kind of repetitive-ish. If he goes against Gunther, we've seen that. If he goes against Sammy, not for the title, we've seen that. If he goes against Roman, we've seen that. We've seen all of these kind of things with the bloodline, holding all the belts, the dissension within the bloodline as well.
That's why Oba makes more sense because it's a fresh coat of paint.
True, it is a fresh coat of paint. I just know that we got Brock Lesnar in the wings, and I can't imagine they're not going to. Does Oba main event back-to-back nights of SummerSlam? Do we have him against champion and then going against Roman or against Brock? That seems a little
certainly possible.
Much.
Seth Rollins has done the double duty. So I know they're two different types of athletes. I understand that, but Oba's a very good athlete. He's a freak. He's a very gifted athlete for a guy as big as he is. He moves like a cruiserweight. Like God possessed that man with gifts that a lot of us wish we could have, because he checks all the boxes and he cuts a darn good promo. Like he is, like when I listen to him talk, like I'm invested. Some of these guys and gals, when I hear them cut a promo, it's kind of like, okay, cool. Like I'm locked in. Oba, like the way he talks, he has like the audience in the palm of his hand. And it's like, I don't know if he's if he's took acting classes like Roman Reigns has, but if I feel like if he hasn't, he's had that natural gift all along, and he just needed to get it fine tuned through the developmental system. But Obafemi checks every single box you are looking for. He has the it factor, as they say. So like to me, like he could definitely do a double duty and pull it off very well and have a lot of success both nights.
Yeah, he could. I guess I just don't want to maybe overexpose Oba. When it says, I know he's probably taken definitely lots of. He came up through the PC like a lot of people, so he's definitely been in all those developmental classes when it comes to promos and things like that.
Roman Reigns hired a professional acting coach though. That outside, it wasn't. Mm-hmm. It was outside the WWE walls. Because for a long time, Roman Reigns the biggest critique was he can't cut a promo. And the reports were he started taking acting classes, part of it for that, but also because don't be surprised if he's doing more Hollywood in the next handful of years. He's already dipped his toes in that area. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he took a more strong approach to that. So for me, like, if Oba's doing this without maybe doing what Roman Reigns did and did some outside outsourcing of, some, acting classes, he's doing it, man. Like, Oba Femi is just everything he does. I'm intrigued, and I'm not worried about the overexposure because the way they present him is he does the quick matches, but he also does the quick promos. So it's not like he's not like how CM Punk was at one point where I felt like I saw him like 3 different times on a show. Like he gets in, he gets his stuff done, whether he's in an actual match or he cuts a promo and he's gone. Like I don't think he's being overexposed. So I'm honestly not that concerned about it.
Let's talk about Io Sky and Liv Morgan. That's the Queen of the Ring match. Liv Morgan is already a world women's champion. If she wins, she can go after Rhea Ripley, champion versus champion, and we can get a preview of Crown Jewel, I guess. We can get a preview of what we'll probably get in a future Saudi Arabia event. I'm kind of wondering, actually, if this is the second. We're only in June, and this is the second event in Riyadh this year. So I'm wondering if Crown Jewel, this upcoming October, if that's going to be somewhere else, because we know they're getting WrestleMania next year. But Liv Morgan, Io Sky going against Rhea Ripley for the championship would be intriguing, obviously, in itself. Or maybe Io Sky beats Liv Morgan, realizes she can beat her, boom, just sets up the rematch this time for the title. But who do you see winning the Queen of the Ring?
I have a good feeling about Io Sky in this situation. I think, like you already mentioned, obviously we know Liv's already the champ. She already is a champ. I get, they could pull the Becky 2 belts and do a Livy 2 belts type of thing, but I don't see it. I think WWE is as a whole. I mean, we've seen all the different stories they've done on Io Sky, like how high they are on her. So to me, it makes the most sense. It's not going to hurt Liv because she's already a champion. Put the crown on Io and let her go after the title. Like that would be facing a Rhea Ripley would be a lot of fun because of all the story and all the history there and the healthy respect between the two. I mean, I think that's a great way to go.
One match on this card that I didn't see them adding. I thought we were all done here, and we talked about it last week that it wasn't going to have anything to do with this pay-per-view because we thought it was going to be, taken care of on SmackDown and then followed up with in the future. And that's a triple threat match for the undisputed WWE Championship with Cody Rhodes, Gunther, and Sami Zayn this past week on SmackDown. It kicked off the show. Sami Zayn, the referee, obviously he got involved one way or the other. They tried to restart the match. He got involved again. And now I see exactly why the match kicked off the show. Once, I should have thought about this, as a wrestling fan. I should have been like, wait a minute, I should know better. But the reason this match kicked off the show is because this week is the pay-per-view. So essentially, by kicking off SmackDown with the championship match, you're in the same position as if you had the championship match the week before. So SmackDown normally starts at 8 o'clock. This week it started at 8:30 following the championship match. And we started off with, how do we follow up following the championship match? And what I mean by that is, right, we got 1 week to the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view this week, they've already taped SmackDown this week in London, so it's already taken care of. They're not making the match last night or this week on SmackDown. The match has already been made. They had the match to kick off SmackDown and then use the rest of SmackDown to essentially follow that up so that they could advertise the match. Before SmackDown was over, we already knew we were getting this match at Night of Champions, so they had the rest of Night of the SmackDown to promo it. So I can see why I kicked it off, because if it ended SmackDown, then we'd be leading SmackDown off this week with the follow-up of what happened instead of having what we did, which was the next 2.5 hours talking about what happened. So good on WWE, smart on them to kick it off with Gunther versus Cody Rhodes, so we can get it out of the way, and then we could just start promoting this as soon as we can. So we all know Cody Rhodes versus Gunther versus Sami Zayn, triple threat match for the championship. I was really certain that, Gunther might win that title on SmackDown. He did not. I'm doubling down, though, now, especially with a triple threat match, which makes it so that people like Cody Rhodes won't even look bad. I'm taking Gunther to win this match at Night of Champions. What about you?
I mean, I think I'm in agreement, and I will also add that Sammy takes the pinfall.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's obviously
That's
like I
the
said,
best way to do it.
so Cody doesn't look bad, right? So Cody kind of gets screwed in a way. And maybe I know obviously with the, King Queen of the Ring, we might get, who's ever winning that facing Roman or whatever, but I could see Cody versus Gunther one-on-one again at SummerSlam with Gunther pinning Sami Zayn and then,
I
Cody
mean,
obviously getting the
or
rematch.
you presented maybe Jey Uso winning that Obafemi match for the King. That could go into a triple threat at SummerSlam.
I
You know
mean,
what I mean? Because
that would
Cody
make it
never
interesting.
lost.
We've already seen Jey Uso and Gunther for the world title, right? It would be literally a rematch of WrestleMania, right? Jey Uso wins the number one contender themed pay-per-view match that gets him a spot at the major
But
stage against a champion,
you add
and
Cody
as
in
we
there,
saw.
it's a triple threat. I mean, that would make it intriguing, I think.
Yes, I think it would make it so we don't just get the retread of Jey Uso coming in as the number one contender
If you're gonna do
against
it
Gunther.
that way, I feel like now that we were just kind of talking through it about like the possibilities of who's gonna win, Cody, Sammy, or Gunther, and we both agree that we think Gunther's gonna win. And if Gunther wins and Cody doesn't get pinned, Cody has a gripe to say, "Hey, I was never pinned for the title that I lost." But then Jey Uso wins King of the Ring, he could say, "Well, I want that. Roman's on this show. I'm taking over this show, so I want my title shot." And then boom, we got a triple threat at SummerSlam. I feel like that could happen.
How come we never have any good? And I've said this before in the show. How come we never had any good multi-man? Like I'd love to see at SummerSlam, like Gunther's the champion, Cody, Sammy, Jay. Just like a whole bunch of people,
Like a
like a
fatal
six
four
pack
way.
challenge, a fatal four way, six pack challenge. We used to have those all the time in the Attitude Era, and we don't have those anymore. Triple threat is as like big as it gets, and I would just like to
Triple
see, like,
threat's
say,
good,
like
no?
a fatal four-way elimination match for the championship or something like that. I don't know. I'm not saying we should have it all the time. Everyone WrestleMania loves to have the one-on-one matches and make it feel like we're watching UFC or something like that. But I did like the WWE back in the day when it had like the six-pack challenges and things like that. The six-man Hell in a Cell, one pinfall, one winner, and you had a lot of stuff going on. Who's going to win the belt? There's lots of different options. You got the big contenders like The Rock and Stone Cold. You got the Rikishis of the world also in there too, though. But we move on. Some other matches on this card. We got Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. They are breaking the mold because there is nothing on the line other than just grudge in this Night of Champions, King of the Ring, whatever theme you want to say this pay-per-view is. This doesn't meet any of them. In fact, Braun Breaker no longer a champion because now Street Profits have won the tag titles this past week on Monday
Thanks
Night
to
Raw.
Seth Rollins.
So we got Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker one-on-one inside of a steel cage at Night of Champions. Do you see anything other than, maybe like Seth Rollins winning this? Anything intriguing coming out of it that's going to make you want to watch Raw going forward, essentially?
I feel like Braun Breaker is. I think there's going to be some shenanigans with the Vision, where I don't know where he is in his recovery, but when's Bronson Reed coming back? I don't know what the timetable is. I don't know if you've seen the recent pictures of Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed looks like a whole new man. He's looking a whole different type of physique in a very good way. I don't know how close he is to coming back, but is this the time that Bronson Reed comes back and tries to help Braun Breaker win this match? Like, are we there yet?
Maybe. I mean, they've already started hinting at it on WWE television that he's coming back. Like, they didn't forget about him. They're making sure to remind people that the Vision will still be intact when he comes back.
At the same time, maybe the Street Profits get involved in some way to say, "Hey, thanks for helping us win the titles. We'll make sure that you guys get a real quote unquote one-on-one match. So if anybody from the Vision comes out, we got your back," kind of a thing. That makes it intriguing because it's probably not going to be a traditional one-on-one cage match. There's going to be some shenanigans, I think, on both sides of the fence. So I'm looking forward to it just for the shenanigans and seeing where the chips fall. And maybe, I don't know where Bronson Reed actually is in the recovery process and when he's actually coming back. But if he came back, that would be a pretty cool little surprise too on this coming Saturday.
Some guys that are on the main card, specifically one that's of interest that's really on the main card here. Ricky Saints. He's flying to Riyadh. I don't even think he was in the Royal Rumble. That's kind of how much of a spot. I mean, we know he's a big name, but he's made himself, a bigger name essentially recently because he's on the main roster now.
Yeah.
He's taking on Trick Williams for the U.S. Championship. Do we see a title change here with the newlywed Trick Williams, who's the champion, taking on Ricky Saints?
Yeah. Well, first off, congrats to Trick Willie and Lash Legend for making it official. Now they're a married couple. So shout out joining the married club like Jared and I. So shout out there. On the match side, man, it's tough because I like both guys. I think Trick Willie's been a lot of fun. You know how I feel about Ricky Saints. I've been pushing that for as long as I can remember. Mm-hmm. Man, it's tough because I don't. To me, it doesn't matter who wins because I'm happy either way. But if I gotta pick one, man, I'm gonna go Ricky Saints. I think Ricky's gonna get a title here. I feel like we might be on the cusp of Trick Willie moving up the ladder just a little bit more, and Ricky Saints taking that spot from Trick. Trick moves up the totem pole a little bit, so I'm gonna go Ricky Saints.
The U.S. title's on the line twice on this event, which is a little bit of a rarity, if you ask me, with Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill facing off. Tiffany Stratton, we saw her make her return at the Royal Rumble. Then she wasn't even on the Mania card. And she's taking on Jade Cargill, who's kind of taking a back seat, right? After multiple times going at the world title, she's going for the U.S. title. Can we have Jade Cargill afford to lose this match?
I mean, I don't think she does lose the match.
You think Jade Cargill becomes the U.S. champion?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's time. I think it's time for her to get the belt. I like Tiffany. I don't think Tiffany needs this belt as much as Jade needs it right now. So I feel like that would be a very nice title change. I feel like we're gonna get it. We're gonna get at least one title change. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's either Jade Cargill winning or Ricky Saints. But I really think Jade Cargill is going to win, much to the chagrin of my daughters. My daughters love Tiffany Stratton; they love watching her in the ring, so they won't be happy. But Jade Cargill, she's pretty darn good, and she is that, as she likes to say, she is that bitch. So.
This event this weekend is in Riyadh at the Kingdom Arena. It's the first event at the Kingdom Arena in Saudi Arabia since last year's Night of Champions. Only 2 of WWE's PLEs have been in the quote-unquote Kingdom Arena here in Riyadh, and that is these 2 events. As we've talked about, there's many different arenas. Last year they built, or this year, I'm not even saying last year, this year they built that stadium for the Royal Rumble because for some reason the soccer stadium in Riyadh or the Mohammed Abdul Arena in Riyadh wasn't good enough, or this Kingdom Arena wasn't good enough, or the King Abdullah Arena in Jeddah wasn't good enough, or the King Saud University Stadium wasn't good enough. But one thing I find kind of strange is that this event is one of 5 consecutive events that are in Riyadh. And the last event that was in Jeddah was 2 years ago in 2024, the King and Queen of the Ring. So, I mean, I don't really know why, but they were kind of going back and forth, right? They're in Saudi Arabia, the agreements with Saudi Arabia as a whole. I'm wondering kind of why they're just now on the Riyadh kick and not the Jeddah kick, and why they are just sticking with Riyadh. I mean, Crown Jewel, Night of Champions, Royal Rumble, Night of Champions again, and WrestleMania next year.
It is interesting.
In this
I do wonder. I don't know if there's anything reported as to why, but I feel like maybe it's, Saudi Arabia wants it to be like in a much smaller scale. I don't want to compare it that much, but they want to make in Saudi Arabia. They want to make Riyadh the official Middle Eastern home of WWE.
Yeah, I mean, that's where they got the WWE experience, that little, essentially thing, fan fest that they have that's open year round. Yeah, and, and also, too, Jeddah, if you were to compare the cities, which, again, it's obviously a very religious country regardless, but I think Jeddah is more of a city that is closer to Mecca and keeps with more of the religious themery, while Riyadh, obviously, as we know, Riyadh season, it's not called Jeddah season, it's called Riyadh season, because that's where they're having all the festivals and trying to do all the Six Flags and things like that. So maybe that has something to do with it in the sense of they're trying to, I would say, make Riyadh their Las Vegas, if you will, if anything in Saudi Arabia.
That's a great way of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it could be, obviously, as we know, culturally and society wise, they couldn't be the opposite. And obviously, that's probably one of the big gripes, right? Of why people are wondering why WWE would be going WrestleMania next year in this place, because it is the exact polar opposite of a place like Las Vegas culturally. But it is from Riyadh this weekend. If you haven't seen enough WWE events in Riyadh, well, here's going to be number 15 PLE and their 10-year agreement. It is the 15th PLE from Saudi Arabia this upcoming Saturday. And we will see how this affects SummerSlam, which is the next PLE after this going forward. It's crazy. SummerSlam's August 1st. So we are just about 1 month and maybe a few days from SummerSlam, which is crazy to think because it's at the beginning of August, not at the end.